once.
Yeah.
And I remember one time when I did, my mom showed up at my house at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
Because she knew that I was upset. And
Right.
she was there right away, without hesitation. And it sucks, like, going through that. It's scary. I
Yeah.
never thought that I would, experience those kind of thoughts.
Right.
Haven't had those kind of thoughts in, so long.
Right.
It's great.
Yeah.
But it's scary when they do happen.
Do you have any advice for someone that might be having those thoughts right now?
Don't act upon it.
Yeah, because you're in a good place right now, right?
Yeah, it will get better. People tell you all the time, like, it will get better, and you're like, okay.
It
Really?
sounds kind of cliche, right?
Yeah, and you don't believe it, but it will get better.
Yes.
It honestly does, and when it does, it's great.
Yeah. Awesome.
And you're so thankful to be able to be here.
Yes.
It's quite incredible, I think.
Well, I know I'm happy you're here today. I know these guys are. We had a pretty fun day at the beach for a little while. Paulie came out, went swimming, the crazy maniac. So let's get into, I know that you've had some struggles with some health as well.
Yes.
Are we okay to talk about that?
Yes.
Okay. So do you want to explain what it is that you've had to live with?
Okay. So when I was 6 years old,
Yep.
I was diagnosed with supraventricular tachycardia, or SVT for
Okay.
short. It's a heart condition. My heart would beat, a regular heartbeat for a regular person is, 80-ish beats per minute. Mine would get above 300 when I
Wow.
would have these episodes. And took quite a while to figure out what was going on. But once the doctors figured it out, took a while to catch it. I would end
Yeah.
up at the hospital, and my heart would go right back to normal before they would be able to catch it.
So how long sorry to interrupt you, but how long did these episodes last then?
It depended. It could last from a couple minutes to an hour.
Wow.
It all depends. Not life-threatening, but very uncomfortable.
Right.
Me being so tiny, you could see my heart beating through my chest.
Wow.
When I was young, I would get really nauseous when I was young, and just kind of lightheaded, and just because your blood's not pumping properly.
Right.
So in 2012,
Yeah.
well, actually before that, I went on all different beta blockers. Those are to slow your heart rate, to kind of keep it pace. They would work, and then my body became kind of immune in a
Right.
way, and they would stop working. I didn't like the side effects. I was a young girl. I didn't want to take them, so sometimes I would skip it. Looking back now, being
Yeah.
a nurse, that was quite dangerous.
Really?
for
To
me,
be skipping the medication?
skipping the beta blockers.
Yeah.
Whenever I give a beta blocker, you have to take the blood pressure first. Never did that. Never took a blood pressure before taking my pills.
Right.
So looking back on it, it's a little frightening.
But you got through it?
I got through it.
Yeah.
Went through all of them, basically, and they worked for a while, and then they didn't. So then I ended up getting a cardiac ablation in 2012. I was put asleep for that one.
Okay.
I was cured for 11 months.
11 months.
Great, 11 months. I was a track runner at that time.
Wow.
I was a long distance runner. Loved running,
Yeah.
cross country, and it was great. But then I started blacking out during races, so it was too embarrassing for me to continue to run. So I gave up something that I loved. Looking back on it, it's kind of sucks because I can't run anymore.
Yeah.
Because I gave it up. You kind of stop doing it, you lose it, right?
Right.
But then in 2015, I think 2015, I was going to be starting nursing school, and I didn't want to have this heart condition anymore because it did come back.
Right.
And so I couldn't really do any physical activity, and that was hard for me because I was a really active person, and I like to be active. I wanted to work out. I wanted to do different things, but I couldn't. My body just wouldn't allow me to. So then I went to my cardiologist, explained all my symptoms, went through wearing a heart monitor. Couldn't catch anything on the heart monitor because my heart is just very temperamental. It has
Really?
a mind of its own, doesn't work. So I just explained everything, and he's like, okay, we'll go in again. We'll try it again. in 2015, I ended up having the cardiac ablation again. This time, for hoping for better results, they said you'd be awake for the surgery. I said, okay, that's fine. I asked if I would feel anything. They said, no, you shouldn't feel any pain. You'll feel pressure for the catheters going up and into your heart. They didn't sedate me enough, so I felt everything.
Oh my goodness.
That was quite difficult.
Was that painful?
The most pain I've ever experienced.
Oh my God.
I can't quite explain it. It was scary when they had said, okay, we're going to turn on the machine to start cauterizing inside my heart. And I'm watching the surgery where the catheters were on the screen.
Yeah. Wow.
But I didn't want to say anything because I wanted this to be done. I wanted to be cured of this condition before I started nursing school. I didn't want to have this problem anymore. So I just kept my mouth shut. Actually thought of poutine during the surgery.
Hey, good call.
Because I was like, hey, what should I eat after this? I'm going to get my brother to get me some poutine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I thought of. And I just pushed through. Used it as a learning opportunity. I thought, you know what? I am going to be a nurse. Use this so then when you have patients who go through the same thing, you can explain to them. You can kind of put yourself in their shoes and understand what they're going through at that time.
Right.
So that's what I did. And a few hours later, it was done. I got my poutine.
Good. Was it just a regular poutine?
I think so.
Yeah.
Looking back, it was good. It was.
Good.
I think it was Smokes poutine.
Yeah,
It was yummy.
Right on.
And I was cured for a year and 4 months.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh damn.
It's okay.
I actually got a tattoo on the back of my neck.
Okay.
It's my heartbeat.
Really? Can I see it?
Yeah, it's just
Oh,
there.
very cool. Yeah, it looks a little different.
Yeah, so that's from my ECG from before I had any surgeries done.
Right.
And got that done. 1 month later, my heart condition came back.
Oh, after all that.
I know, it's like I jinxed myself.
Oh,
What am I doing?
by getting the tattoo?
Right? So, because I was so happy, I was like, I'm cured. I haven't had any problems. And it came back. So then, yeah, I kept going along, trying to figure out what was like wrong with my heart. Still to this day, we don't know. Tomorrow I have a heart appointment, so hoping to get some answers.
Fingers crossed, right, guys?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, you can figure this out.
Exactly. A couple months ago, I got an implantable loop recorder put inside my chest.
Okay.
So then my heart's being monitored at all times, just to kind of figure out what's going on.
How is that being monitored at all times, just to be curious?
So I have a box machine beside my bed,
Yeah.
or I bring it with me to work, and it sends all my data to my cardiologist every night.
Really?
And,
so
yeah,
it's actually being monitored by someone, like
it
a
is.
professional. Wow.
So anything kind of unusual or different, it will get sent at 2 a.m. every night to my cardiologist. And
I'm sure he's up looking at that right away, right at 2 a.m. too,
yeah,
right?
like what's going on
Yeah.
with her? So yeah, we're just kind of trying to figure out what's kind of going on because it's still the unknown. But you know, it's why I am the reason. Like it's who I am.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't escape the condition. I thought I could.
Yeah.
I thought I've always been like the girl with the heart condition, but you know what? It's who I am. It's me, and I think overall it's going to make me a better nurse.
Yeah.
For that reason, I want to get into pediatrics. So.
Right. So you're trying to obviously see the silver lining in all of this.
Exactly. Kind of pick out the positives because
Right.
there's no point in looking at the negative part of it because
No.
that's not going to do me any good. So.
Yeah. And so, I mean, with this, I caught you and you said my heart's no good. Well, let me just stop you for a second because you have a very big, good heart from what I can see. You're a wonderful young woman and you don't deserve this. I don't think. I mean, there's many people that don't deserve what they're going through, but I really don't think you deserve this. And I hope we find out tomorrow what it is.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And you also mentioned going back to your relationship that you struggle with. Is that the only relationship you've been in?
The only serious,
The only serious relationship?
Yeah.
And you mentioned at one point that he was threatening suicide himself.
Yeah.
How did you deal with that? Because I feel like I'm getting some signs of mental illness coming from your past partner.
Yeah, so he knew that I was suffering like from depression, and he knew that I did get suicidal at certain points. He was very manipulative, and knew where to kind of
poke your buttons.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, certain times he would get really, really angry.
Was he ever abusive? Like
yes,
physically?
Yes.
He was?
Yeah. Looking back, I didn't think it was wrong. I thought, I'm fine. Like, it's okay. Like,
yeah.
I guess I deserved it in a way. Like, it wasn't really, like, he wasn't really physically abusive, but there was times when, like, when he hit me or he pushed me or, you know, slam a door on me or something like that, and I just thought, whatever, like, I can take it. It's fine. Looking back on it now, would I ever let someone do that to me again? No way.
Good.
Never. But good. I don't know. You learn from that.
Yeah.
And he knew how to get to my buttons, I guess. So he would start threatening his life, and, you know, learning what I did through school. If anyone makes a hint at being suicidal, you don't work around it. You just straight out ask the question, are you thinking about killing yourself? You just straight out come with the question, because
perfect.
That's the only way you're going to get a legitimate answer.
Right.
You need to know, like, you need to be there for that individual.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to act upon it, because if you don't, then they're going to act upon what they're feeling, and then you could lose that person.
And they're not in the, there's kind of a fog over their mind at that moment in time. They're not thinking clearly. So.
Exactly. And being someone who went through that,
yeah.
I knew how severe and how strong those thoughts could be.
Yeah.
So it scared me when he started talking that way. And I acted upon it. I said, you know what, if you're going to keep talking this way, I'm going to end up calling the police. I don't know what to do, because he was physically larger than me.
Yeah.
Stronger than me. So I can't. Like, we lived on the 11th story of an apartment building, threatening to jump off the balcony. I can only hold on so tightly.
Right. Without being dragged with him, potentially.
Exactly. And so I would call the police, and they would come, but then he would be like, I'm fine, she's just crazy, she's making it all up. The police would be like, they would kind of blame it on me, saying, I'm bawling my eyes out at this point. Like, I'm uncontrollably distraught, like,
right.
And they would just blame it on me, saying I'm, like, delusional, basically, and I'm making this up, and they wouldn't believe me. And his parents, I would reach out to his family. His family was terrible. They didn't want to hear it. They would blame me for calling them,
really, saying,
hey, like, he's trying to hurt himself, I'm worried about him, please do something. And they would just get annoyed with me, and that was pretty hard, considering I cared so much about this guy. I would have done anything for him, and they didn't care, and that was hard. My parents cared more about him, it seemed, than his parents did. Like, my parents were willing to do things for him, and care for him, and they just did not care.
Right. We kind of got into this on the car ride because Paulie, who's a guest, Paulie does this Sunday night podcast with me. Paulie did a talk this morning. I was there for at the OPP. Is it just the OPP station in London? Is that what that is? Like the headquarters. The headquarters? Yeah. What do you think, when you weren't being, when they were believing you, do you think that was the fact that they didn't want to, or they didn't know how to deal with it? What do you think that was from your perspective?
I think it's more of they didn't know how to deal with it. I don't think they were trained to deal with, like, mental health situations.
Right.
Like, I think that's all it was. They just weren't. Excuse me. They weren't trained.
People aren't going to dig into something that they don't know about or don't understand. It's easier just to ignore it.
Exactly.
Right? Which is why we're trying to talk about this stuff now. So, Paulie, would you say this morning that that meeting, everybody was pretty receptive to teaching the other fellow officers and everything how to approach this in a better way? It was a pretty productive meeting today, right?
Yeah, it was, for sure. I think that, like, it was super surprising that they didn't have the resources, or that they just didn't know any frontline workers like police.
Yeah.
Like, I would trust that they would have some more knowledge on it.
Right.
Being 2017 and not having
mental health. Well, the good news is they're making the effort now, and hopefully your talk today will create some change. So, back to the relationship again one more time.
No worries.
With your heart condition, and even today, is it a struggle to become intimate with your partner? Like, I'm just wondering with the heart rate increase, because you're talking about exercise, and you can tell me to fuck off if you want to. But, like, that, is that a challenge sometimes?
Not really. Like, I think Some days my heart's good.
Okay.
Some days it's bad.
But you can tell.
I can tell. I know when it's good. I know when it's bad. So some days my heart's strong. Like today, it's great.
Okay, good.
Working